The playoffs is almost going to be decided. Guys, after this weekend, we are going to know who is going to be playing in the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, playing for the College Football National Championship. I am so excited. Do you know what? Crank that non-copyright college football marching band music because it is a good time. Welcome to Touchdowns to Home Runs, everyone. I am your host, Noah, and I cannot wait to talk some more college football with you guys today. Now, this is going to be kind of the first part of maybe a 2 or 3 part video segment because I'm going to do my pre-championship weekend playoff prediction, which is going to happen right now. Then after championship weekend, I'm going to give my playoff prediction, and then I'm going to do a live reaction video. I plan on doing a live reaction video of the college football playoff rankings when they come out with them to see the top 4 teams in college football. I cannot wait. So if you haven't already, definitely subscribe. Definitely like the video. Give the video a huge thumbs up right now if you're excited for the college football playoff coming up. Subscribe, comment, anything, like the video. Do whatever you can, and let's get into it because we have a very exciting video for today. So as we know, the college football season has been crazy this year. Nothing has been consistent from teams playing. Games are getting canceled all the time, every weekend. You have conferences starting at way different times. Like you look at the ACC and the Big 12 start early in the season, and then the SEC starts kind of the mid, and then you have the Big 12 and the Pac-12 starting late into the season. So none of these teams, a lot of these teams haven't even played full schedules or even close to some of what the other teams like you'd have Clemson, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Iowa State, teams like that playing way more games than, let's say, teams like Ohio State or USC or teams like that. And then you have also a couple of really good group of 5 teams coming in this year to the whole playoff mix. You have Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Bearcats, who are undefeated in the American, and then you also have the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, who are also undefeated going into this championship weekend. So there are lots of teams on the bubble right now. We could name off. So right now, undefeated teams, you'll have Alabama, you have Notre Dame going into this weekend, you have Coastal Carolina, you have Cincinnati. Those are my 4 teams. You have USC, 5 teams that have a shot at the playoff, and then also Big 12 championship, Iowa State, Oklahoma, they might have a slight chance. You'll have maybe Florida if they could pull out a win versus Alabama. You may have Georgia if something crazy happens, although it's highly unlikely. Who else will you have? You'll have Northwestern if they are able to pull off a big shocker against Ohio State. Oh, I also forgot Ohio State. They're another undefeated team going into this weekend. Lots of teams that could be in this mix. So we're going to come down for a very, very crucial and exciting championship weekend. So I am going to give my prediction for who the top 4 teams in order are going to be going into this playoff. And this is going to be post-championship weekend. So this is going to be all expectation of what happens on championship weekend and then after. So these are going to be my 4 teams playing in the college football playoff this season. I'm going to start off with number 1 because going 1-4 is way more suspenseful. And it's just more exciting and everything because the main teams that you're going to want to look at here, the main teams that you're going to be watching this video for are the 3 to the 4 seed teams. Those are the teams that you don't know who's officially or guaranteed going to get in, and I'm going to give you those later. But number 1, coming in at number 1, not much of a surprise at all. I have the Alabama Crimson Tide. After watching Florida last weekend against LSU, a very, very weak performance in a game that came down to a shoe being thrown. Absolutely insane game. That was one of the best games of college football I've watched all season, even though I was a bit upset that Florida did lose that game because I wanted the SEC championship to have some more meaning going into it. This Alabama team is so good, guys. Like, I cannot speak highly enough of. I know a lot of people are happy that Gary Danielson and CBS is going to be gone from the SEC a bit because they can't stand how we always talk so amazing about Alabama. But guys, dead serious, in all seriousness, this Alabama team is absolutely legit. You look at Mac Jones going for the Heisman against Kyle Trask and his own receiver, Devontae Smith, in that game. You have 2 of the top 3 Heisman favorites on this offense alone in Mac Jones and then Devontae Smith. You have Najee Harris, and then on the receiving core, you got John Mechie, you got Jalen Waddle. You got so much talent on this side of the ball. So, and then the defense is starting to warm up a bit. They've been a lot better ever since that Georgia game, the second half of the Georgia game this season. The defense for Alabama has played a lot better than they did towards the beginning of the season. You look back to the Ole Miss game where they let Ole Miss run up 48 points, I think, on them. Alabama is the best team in the nation. I say this every single video. They got the number 1 next to their name for a reason. and I do not see that changing here. All Alabama has to do is win, and they get a number 1 guaranteed lock, in my opinion. Lock it in right now. Alabama Crimson Tide going to the playoff as the number 1 seed. Number 2 seed, this kills me to say because you see my shirt right here, Gamecock football. Actually, the hat, I forgot to shout out the hat. Check it out. New TDSTOHRS trucker hats. I just got mine in recently. I know Bernie got his too. If you want them, you could visit the link in the description down below. I love these things so far. Amazing quality. So if you want one of those or any, we got tons of unique college football and sports merchandise in that store. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. Number 2. So I said, you see that I'm a Gamecocks fan. I got the Gamecocks shirt on. I got 2 jerseys behind me. Number 2, I'm going to have to put Clemson. Even though I hate it, even though I hate to say it because they are our bitter rivals, I hate Clemson with every single inch of my body. I do not like Clemson at all. But yet, you have to look at it realistically. And yes, they do have that 1 loss on their record. That was to Notre Dame. But that was a Trevor Lawrence list team. That was a team missing a lot of key defensive players on that side of the ball for Clemson. Beating Clemson twice in a row for Notre Dame, especially that they got Trevor Lawrence back now, is really, really, really hard for me to pick Notre Dame over Clemson, even though that Notre Dame's already done it this season. I just find it really, really, really hard to put a team with such caliber as Clemson over top of Notre Dame. Like, this is completely unbiased based. Like, I'm taking all that out. If I were to put money on what the college football playoff, how it would rank up and everything, this is what I would do. This is what I do if I had to put serious money on this or bet my life on it or whatever. This is what I actually think is going to happen. So even though Notre Dame has already beat Clemson, and that was a really close game, that was an overtime game. If you do not remember what happened, I can't remember how long ago was that. I think that was October 24th, or it was November 7th, somewhere around there. The fact of the matter is Clemson is a very, very good football team, and they got the number 1 consensus, number 1 pick in the NFL draft on the side of the ball this time in the game. So I am taking Clemson against Notre Dame, and for that reason, I think a 1-loss Clemson team will jump up to that number 2 spot if they do win the ACC championship. So give me Clemson at number 2. Number 3, I have a team that has not played very many games at all, but a team that is undefeated. So right off the bat, you're like, this is either USC or this is OSU. And of course, I am taking the Oklahoma State. Oh my gosh, Buckeyes fans are going to kill me. I do not know why I just said that. Ohio State Buckeyes. I apologize, Buckeye fans, so much for that. I do not know what was going on with my mind there. There's so many OSUs. You got Oklahoma State, you got Ohio State, you got Oregon State. There's too many to count. Just cut me some slack. Ohio State. Yes, they haven't played many games. Yes, the quality of opponents that they have played hasn't been the absolute greatest. And when they have played a very good team, and I'm pretty sure the best team that they played all season was Indiana. That was a very close game, only a 7-point win. That was in Columbus too. Justin Fields, I love watching him play. I love watching that offense play so much. Ohio State is one of the best 4 teams in the nation, and I will argue till the sun goes down about that fact, because the matter of the fact, there is no team behind Alabama and Clemson that I confidently say is better than Ohio State. I just can't say it. I honestly just cannot say it at all. Like, it would be absolutely absurd. There's no team out there that I would say is better than Ohio State outside of Alabama and Clemson. And for that reason, I have to put Ohio State number 3. So my playoff ranking right now, I have a rematch of Clemson and Ohio State going into this playoff semifinal. I cannot wait for that game. That should be a really good game because the game last year was amazing. Even though I was really upset that Ohio State lost, it was still a really good game. But who am I going to have playing Alabama this season in the college football playoff after Alabama takes an exit to the LSU Tigers back there? I was a huge Joe Burrow fan. I love that team last year. I wouldn't say that I'm an LSU fan. I was just a huge fan of that team last year. You can call me a bandwagon. It's not like I'm out here saying that I'm the biggest LSU fan ever. I'm not. I'm the biggest South Carolina fan ever. And trust me, it's impossible to bandwagon for the Gamecocks. I am dead serious. I watch every single second of every single game, and it's hard. It's a labor of love, but I still do it. Number 4, coming into this college football playoff, who am I going to put in? You have teams right off the board. I have Alabama winning, beating Florida in the SEC championship. I have Ohio State beating Northwestern in the Big Ten Championship. I have Clemson beating Notre Dame. I have Oklahoma, Iowa State. I don't even know who I'm going to pick in that game. I really like Iowa State this year. Hall has been an amazing running back this year. They're a team, so I'm going to pick Iowa State to beat Oklahoma this year. I think Iowa State has been way more consistent. So my top choices right now, I'm going to take Coastal Carolina and Cincinnati in both of their conference championships. So I have about 4 or 5 teams. I have Notre Dame to choose from. I have USC to choose from. I have Coastal Carolina to choose from. I have Cincinnati to choose from. And I have Iowa State. And I completely forgot about this team. And I have the Texas A&M Aggies to choose from. Those are 6 teams that I could choose for this final 4th spot. I can't choose Florida because they've lost. Georgia, no. They're not making it in. Northwestern, no. Everyone else is gone. Maybe. No. Indiana, no. Can't do it. So those teams, those 6 teams that I just named off are the teams that are battling for this spot. And the team that I'm going to be taking for the 4th spot in the college football playoff this season is going to be the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This is purely resume based. They have a huge win against Clemson. Their one loss is going to be against Clemson, in my opinion. They're going to lose that ACC championship team. But this team is still the 2nd best team ranked right now in the country. They're undefeated going into this game. And they just have the good resume win against Clemson. They have a win against North Carolina, who's also been a pretty good team this year. Notre Dame has been a good football team this year. Honestly, I'd like to see Texas A&M be put over Notre Dame. I honestly think Texas A&M would give Notre Dame a real good run for their money and probably beat them. I'd honestly take Texas A&M in that game. But Texas A&M does have the one loss. That one loss is coming to a Florida team who has taken a step back and is probably going to finish the season with 3 losses. And Notre Dame's only loss is going to be a Clemson team with Trevor Lawrence. It's just too hard to justify putting Texas A&M over Notre Dame, in my opinion. So those are my top 4. Alabama 1, Clemson 2, Ohio State 3, Notre Dame 4. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Post-championship weekend playoff prediction is going to be coming. I'll put that out on Monday probably. Stick around for that. And then, of course, on the big day, I will definitely be putting out my reaction for who's going to make the college football playoff. It's going to be an amazing day. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Definitely like the video down below. Comment anything. Subscribe. And thanks for watching, and come back next time.